What's up, my friend? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are comparing three of my favorite chamber string libraries. So I've done quite a few videos comparing other string libraries, symphonic sizes, solo libraries, but this time let's kind of meet in the middle and take a look at some chamber libraries. And so what is the definition of a chamber string library? Usually it's an ensemble size that is smaller in scope compared to an ensemble, a fuller ensemble, like a symphonic size. So that's usually between 6, 5, 4, 4, 3, or 2, and something like 4, 3, 2, 2, 1 in terms of first violin, second violins, violas, cellos, and basses. So anything up to like 6 first violins, 5 seconds, 4 violas, 4 cellos, and 2 or 3 double basses is pretty typical for a chamber size. And all three of these libraries call themselves chamber strings libraries. So we're going to take a look at the sales pages, take a look at what they offer, and then we'll dive into Logic and actually have a listen to them. And of course, if you want to know my absolute favorite sample libraries, feel free to grab my sample library buyer's guide in the description box below, and it's completely free as a gift to you for checking out this video today. So with that being said, let's kind of take a look at our first chamber strings library, and that is Spitfire Chamber Strings. So out of all three of these libraries that we're going to take a look at, this is actually the newest one from Spitfire, and it's basically a repackaged version of the original chamber strings, but just made more affordable to the composer market. So I personally fall into the camp of never owning chamber strings before. I had always been interested in the library, but I was pretty much covered in, with other libraries from different developers. But when this came about, I was like, okay, I can get in on the chamber strings for a pretty good price. Now, to be fair, they did send it to me for free for a review, so I'm thankful for that. But just so you know, I probably would have purchased it anyway if I needed chamber strings with that actual chamber sound. So it sells for $249 pretty regularly, and it basically gives you some legato, and it gives you, the rest of the articulations, and it tells you more about it here, around 30 gigabytes in size. So that is Spitfire Chamber Strings Essentials. Then we have Dolce, which is from Audio Imperia and collaboration with Performance Samples, and this is a romantic chamber strings library. That's what it's more stylized towards. So more vibrato heavy, more passionate performances. That's what you can kind of expect here. The price is actually double chamber strings essentials, so it's $500 normally, and it's let's see, Spitfire Chamber Strings was 28 gigabytes, I think, in size. Yeah, so this is about almost 3 times the size, so it kind of makes sense, I guess. They're charging more than that. 4 mic positions, wide range of articulations, expressive legato, so you get a pretty well-rounded set of instruments and sounds here from this library. And then finally, we're going to take a look at Performance Samples Vista. This is a chamber strings library, regularly $339, so kind of in the middle between the other two, and on sale currently at the time of this recording for $129. And then you can read about it here. The thing about Vista, though, is that it's legato only, so it is a little bit limited in that respect, but you can balance the pros and cons as you wish. If you only write legato style music, then it's not really much of a problem for you, right? So anyway, okay, so that being said, let's kind of dive into Logic, and we're going to hear a few of the patches from each library. I'm not going to show every single patch, just some of the ones that are my favorites, most commonly the violins one and the cellos, okay? And then I'll pull in some ensembles as well, so we can hear everything kind of pushed together as well. Okay, that being said, let's kind of start off with the chamber strings essentials. We're going to hear the violins one, we'll play the legato, I'll go through the other articulations, then we'll do the cellos and so on, okay? So here's the violins one from chamber strings essentials. Yeah, so one of the main reasons I really enjoy playing this library is due to the sound itself. Knowing that it's recorded in Air Studios, which is quite a reverberant space in London, the sound itself is very, very detailed, actually. And I believe this balance of close and far, it's yeah, it's two mic positions, but you get a really detailed sound and a nice body of reverb or that Hall signature in there as well. But it really doesn't overwhelm the close signal at all. If anything, it enhances the close signal in such a beautiful way, and I can hear the detail in those strings really, really beautifully. Legato is decent enough. It's not the smoothest, it's not the bumpiest, but it's definitely serviceable. You probably would want to layer it with a library with even better legato. I'm thinking CSS off the top of my head, but especially when you hold the notes longer, like in the legato patches or sustain patches, it's when the single player kind of comes out further in the mix with their vibrato, sounds way more passionate than some other libraries. A lot of libraries try to make their chamber string sizes sound more symphonic in nature, which is actually what I feel from these other two, Dolce and Vista. So just keep that in mind, that Spitfire chamber strings to me actually sounds like chamber strings, which is a big, big plus in this category. Okay, let's move on to the cellos, and you can expect something very similar here, very smooth, quite smooth legato, and then we'll play through these other articulations as well. Beautiful. All right, and then let's do the ensemble patch as well. Just to quickly show you the patch structure here, it's very, very simple. You just get the 5 sections, and then you get a single ensemble patch. So really, it does live up to its name of being an essentials library. Let's hear the sustains here. Right. So as you may expect, the ensemble patch is basically all the patches kind of combined. I'm sure there's some overlapping in there as well. Like if you play a single note, I'm sure there's multiple sections playing that single note if the ranges fit within the instrument. So yeah, overall, a really, really nice library for what you get. I think the price is totally fair comparing it to the larger sizes. I think there's also a core and a pro version, which naturally are more expensive, give you more articulations, mic positions, I think, as well, stuff like that. My only gripe with this library is really just a visual one, and that is when you're clicking on different buttons and stuff, they give you this little help box every single time, and I don't know if this is something you can turn off. Yes, it is. Okay. I should have probably played around with the library a little bit more. But yes, I guess by default, they want to give you all the information that's necessary. For me, it's just a little distracting. So yeah, I probably would turn that off in the future. Okay. Let's move on to the second library here, Dolce. You can see I've categorized them pretty close together. And yes, this one is very interesting. So the articulations are all laid out here, as you can see. So these are single patches. Yeah, so you do have ensemble patches as well. If only they had one for legato too, that could be really cool too. But yeah, for the most part, you get all the instruments kind of separated out, all the articulations. So yeah, let's kind of hear what this sounds like. And just a little disclaimer, I'm going to be pressing the sustain pedal for these legato patches as well. It tends to provide slightly better results compared to not pressing it. So yeah, let me just play the first violins here with this pedal pressed down, and it should improve the legato just a little bit. Okay, so yeah, especially on the last note there, that C, you could hear that looping there, which exposed isn't that great. But yeah, overall, the legato, you can definitely hear when the transitions actually happen. So not the smoothest, and that was with the sustain pedal. I believe Audio Impure is also working on an update though for the legato, so that'll be really, really cool when that drops. But I think in terms of the overall sound and just the way it responds to me, it feels and sounds really, really nice. The actual sound quality itself, you can't really beat. It's really clear, it's really polished, it has that clarity. The modern mix, I think, helps a little bit to it as well. There's some processing going on there, whereas the classic mix usually is a little darker, a little quieter as well. So yeah, I generally tend to stick with the modern mixes in most of my productions as well. But yeah, so let's go over these other articulations really quickly. We have spiccato, and then I'll play the pizzicato, both the ensemble patches. So here we go. Okay, and that is Dolce. So let's move on to the final instrument here, and that is Vista from Performance Samples. Now, keep in mind the former, or the first two that we talked about, are Contact player friendly, whereas Vista is not. So you will need the full version of Contact in order to run this library. That might play into consideration whether you purchase it or not, and also it's legato only as well. So do keep that in mind. So the first thing we'll listen to is the 5 violins, then we'll listen to the 3 cellos, and then we'll go into the bonuses as well. So here are the 5 violins here, without any sustain pedal. All right. So first impressions of the sound, you can hear it's definitely, sorry, I was going to say brighter. No, it's a little darker. It's a little creamier and even a little fuller compared to Dolce and Spitfire Chamber Strings Essentials. It definitely has a unique sound of its own, I would say. It definitely sounds more symphonic. It sounds like a larger section with very passionate vibrato. So it's creamier, right? And so I think it serves as a really good layering base with any of these other libraries that we talked about already. Just that contrast in timbre, that contrast in quality of sound, you can get some really cool combinations there. Okay, and then the bonus material that Jasper provides us with is quite useful actually in some cases. So one of the patches is a 3 violins triple fortissimo overlay. So this is meant to be layered on top of the violins one or the violins, right? Give you that even more detail, give you more of that chamber sound. So that's what it sounds like. Yeah, so this patch sounds more like the Spitfire chamber strings over or up top. Just yeah, the overall sound is a little brighter, a little cleaner. The detail is more there, right? It's like almost half the size of the violins patch, the original Vista patch. So you do definitely get more detail. One more thing I forgot to mention is that you might hear at the attack of each initial phrase, there is a bit of a stutter almost. It's like da da, like right? Da-da. And that's because Jasper basically sourced each of the sustains from real performances. So there tends to be a little bit of a hiccup, if you will, just due to the nature of that performance sourced sampling, I believe it's called. So just keep that in mind. So exposed, it's not going to sound really all that great, but if you layer it with something that does have a nice solid attack, then it should help. The second bonus we have is the full string sustains. Right, and then finally we have the harp. Okay, so definitely a wetter sound, right? Definitely more reverberant and not quite as close up and detailed as something like Cineharps or even Berlin Symphonic Harps, which are the two libraries I do have, or dedicated libraries I have for harps. But it's a nice little bonus to have, recorded in the same room as the rest of the library, I'm pretty sure. So it's nice to have additional options like this. And then Jasper is also working on Vista 2 at the moment, which is a full-fledged string library, not like Vista 1 at all, basically more in line with Pacific. So that'll be really fun to see what happens there. But generally, these are the libraries we currently have available. And of course, there are many more on the market, but these are the ones that I currently have and use. So I just wanted to share them with you a little bit here today. So hopefully that kind of made sense. But I would love to hear your thoughts on which of these 3 libraries is your favorite from hearing the examples in this video and why. Which library kind of speaks to you the best? Which examples did you enjoy the most? Let me know in a comment below. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. This is the first time I think I'm ever asking this actually, because I usually just, share the content. I give you a little gift at the end and then I sign off. But if you do enjoy the material, it really does help if you like and subscribe. YouTubers have been saying this for decades, I guess, but I've seen the effects of it and it really does help. So if you do want to support me and enjoy the material and you want to see more videos like this, then feel free to do so. It really helps and is greatly appreciated. And of course, if you want my sample library buyer's guide, you want to check out all my favorite libraries, definitely download that down below. It's completely free. And I'm also going to condense it down a little bit. I plan on stripping it down, removing things that I don't currently use anymore, and really nailing it down to just the core essentials that I think you might need, the considerations. So it's not going to be a buyer's guide that gives you every single option available on the market. It's every option that I would personally consider. And I think there's a big difference there. So I'm going to stop rambling, but I just want to let you know that in the new year, you can expect the sample library buyer's guide to be trimmed down a little bit, and you'll see that difference. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Always appreciate your support, and I'll see you in there. Take care.